On the surface, Daniel's life looks perfect. He's the man people point to and say, he figured it out. The high-rise apartment with floor-to-ceiling windows, the imported suits, the watch that costs more than his first car. His social media shines with curated snapshots of rooftop parties, executive meetings, and spontaneous weekends abroad. Every caption screams success. Every follower envies him. But behind closed doors, Daniel is starving not for food, but for something deeper. Nights stretch into hollow rituals, scrolling explicit content until dawn, swiping through faces he'll never remember, drinking to numb the gnawing ache that no amount of pleasure seems to satisfy. Women come and go, fast and forgettable. Achievements blur together. His bank account grows. His soul shrinks. He tells himself he's in control. He tells himself this is freedom. But when the city sleeps, Daniel knows the truth. He is addicted to escaping himself. One night, between whiskey sips and meaningless messages, he notices a man watching him from across the dimly lit bar. Not threatening. Not judging. Just aware. The man approaches, sits beside him without invitation, and speaks as if he's known Daniel for years. "You're wasting it?" Daniel scoffs. "Wasting what exactly? My charm, my money." The man smiles, not kindly. Almost pitying. "Your power. Your energy. The fire you keep handing over to people who don't even know your name." Daniel bristles, but something about the stranger's words pierces through the alcohol haze and the layers of defensiveness he's worn like armor. Before he can retort, the man leans in and whispers something Daniel won't forget. "What if the energy you waste could build an empire?" And just like that, the man is gone. No name. No card. Just a question hanging in the stale air between them. Daniel laughs it off on the surface. But that night, for the first time in years, he can't bring himself to open the apps. Can't finish the drink. Can't chase the high. Instead, he lies awake in his designer sheets, staring at the ceiling, haunted by 6 words, "What if the energy you waste could build an empire?" The question from the stranger haunts Daniel in the days that follow. He tries to drown it out with work, with meaningless dates, with gym sessions where he pushes himself until his muscles scream. But beneath the carefully crafted routines, the hunger gnaws louder. The dopamine highs don't last like they used to. The followers, the likes, the praise, hollow echoes bouncing inside an empty shell. Then, it happens. The breakdown isn't loud. It isn't dramatic. It's humiliating in its simplicity. It begins in a boardroom filled with glass walls and sharper tongues. A simple mistake in a presentation, a figure off by a decimal. A colleague smirks. His boss sighs. Someone makes a joke at his expense. Daniel's mouth opens to defend himself, but nothing comes out. For a terrifying moment, he realizes he doesn't even care, not about the meeting. Not about the project. Not about the job he once swore would define him. Afterwards, standing alone in the corporate bathroom beneath the sterile glare of fluorescent lights, he finally looks at himself, really looks. The bloodshot eyes. The forced smile lines around a mouth that hasn't felt joy in months. The jaw clenched with decades of unmet expectations. Who the hell is this man? Back at his apartment, Daniel moves through his penthouse as if trespassing. The space feels foreign. Cold. Sterile. He pours himself a drink out of habit, but doesn't finish it. Instead, something draws his gaze to the bookshelf, untouched in years, more decor than substance. His hand lands on an old copy of Think and Grow Rich. A book gifted to him long ago by someone he barely remembers. He flips through without intention until a highlighted phrase catches his eye. Sexual energy is the most powerful creative force available to man. It is the driving force behind genius, wealth, and greatness. Master it, and you master yourself. Something clicks. Or maybe it cracks. He laughs bitterly, hollowly. Is this what that stranger meant? Was he really throwing away something so vital, trading it for momentary pleasure and fleeting approval? His phone buzzes. A message. From his ex. Short. Brutal. Unforgiving. You're not just destroying yourself. You're draining everyone who ever loved you. Daniel sets the phone down, but the words burn hotter than the whiskey sliding down his throat. That night, for the first time, he doesn't numb himself. He doesn't swipe or scroll. He doesn't chase validation. He just stares at his reflection until the sun comes up, wondering, how did I become the architect of my own ruin? Daniel's obsession begins quietly. Days blur together as he combs through the pages of Think and Grow Rich, fixating on two words: sexual transmutation. The phrase sounds archaic, alchemical, almost ridiculous. But somewhere, deep in his restless bones, Daniel senses it holds a truth bigger than he's ready to admit. What does it mean to transmute desire? How could lust, the very force that's led him to humiliation and self-loathing, possibly be turned into greatness? The answers aren't in corporate manuals or motivational podcasts. They hide in stranger places. Late into sleepless nights, Daniel finds himself drawn into shadowy corners of the internet. Forums not indexed by Google. Communities speaking in riddles and codes. No FAP. Taoist energy mastery. Sexual alchemy. Tantric retention. Magnetism. Masculine energy. Kundalini awakening. Each promises transformation. But none agree on how. One says total abstinence will give him power beyond imagination, energy rising through his spine, unlocking hidden faculties of the brain. Another insists that sacred sexuality, channeled through ritual and meditation, is the true path to balance and creativity. A third preaches cold discipline, urges conquered through sheer will alone, forging clarity like steel in fire. Daniel tries to piece it together, but the puzzle is maddening. Every answer seems wrapped in contradiction. Abstain, indulge, consciously subdue, embrace. He watches testimonials from men claiming to have rebuilt empires, conquered addictions, attracted soulmates, all from this mysterious redirection of energy. Yet their methods clash, their philosophies war. One night, deep in a live stream Q&A with a so-called energy coach, Daniel types a desperate question: how do I know which path is real? The man reads it aloud, smirks, and answers without kindness: they're all real. And none of them are. You're already being used. Just not in the way you think. Daniel's stomach tightens. What do you mean, used? Look at the world. Look at yourself. Where does all your energy go? Who profits when you're weak, distracted, hungry for validation? Think about it. The stream ends. The screen goes dark. But the words burrow deeper than anything Daniel has read so far. For the first time, he considers something terrifying. What if his addiction isn't a personal failing, but a system working exactly as designed? Daniel's world shrinks. With the apps gone, the meaningless distractions stripped away, the silence grows unbearable. He feels the hunger more now, not just for sex or validation, but for connection, clarity, something real. He isolates himself from the friends who once encouraged his indulgences. No more late nights filled with cheap pleasures and empty victories. No more superficial conversations masking envy as banter. He's building walls now, brick by brick. But there's one friend who won't let go so easily. Ethan. His oldest confidant. His party partner. His so-called brother in arms through the years of fast living and fast women. The one who always said, life's short, enjoy it. Grind later. When Daniel starts pulling back, refusing invites, skipping nights out, avoiding group chats filled with thirst traps and crude jokes, Ethan notices. And he confronts him. The confrontation isn't loud at first. It starts over whiskey, like old times. But Daniel isn't drinking tonight. That's the first crack in the ritual. Ethan senses weakness. You good, man, you've been weird lately. Ghosting everyone. Acting like you're better than us now. Daniel tells the truth, carefully, I'm done wasting my energy. Done handing myself over to things that leave me emptier every time. Ethan laughs bitter, sharp. Since when did you turn into a monk? You think any of that makes you stronger? You think it'll make you happier? Daniel doesn't answer. He just watches as something ugly surfaces in Ethan's expression. A truth that's been there all along, hiding beneath the brotherly smiles and wingman loyalty. Why do you think I kept you weak? Ethan spits the words like venom. You were competition. You were better than me once, until I taught you how to drown it all out. Daniel's stomach turns. The betrayal isn't just Ethan's. It's his own. He let himself be led. He handed over his hunger, his focus, his discipline in exchange for fitting in, for fleeting highs, for shallow approval. He was complicit in his own downfall. But Ethan isn't finished. He leans in, voice low, cruelly triumphant. You think this is about sex, about self-control? Wake up. You're not fighting urges. You're fighting a world that profits from keeping you like this. Daniel doesn't flinch. Not this time. Because somewhere in Ethan's twisted mockery, he hears a deeper truth. A warning, not just from a friend turned enemy, but from the system itself. Stay weak. Stay distracted. Stay easy to control. That night, Daniel writes a single sentence in his journal, I've been at war without knowing it. Daniel's world has narrowed to one desperate mission, reclaim his power. He's cut ties with the parties, deleted the apps, embraced meditation, and pushed himself into disciplined routines that leave no room for distractions. But the hunger still gnaws, sharper than ever, not just for pleasure, but for escape, for oblivion. Then she returns. Lila. The ghost of his past. The woman who once made him feel alive, reckless, invincible, untouchable. She shows up unexpectedly, like a storm he thought had passed, with that same intoxicating smile and a knowing look that unravels his resolve. Their reunion is electric, charged with the memories of reckless nights and blurred boundaries. For a moment, Daniel forgets the battles within. The discipline. The promises. He lets himself fall hard and fast into the familiar embrace of lust and denial. That night is a reckless surrender, but the next morning brings clarity sharper than any hangover. Lying awake, staring at the cracked ceiling, Daniel realizes, this isn't about sex. It never was. It's about running from the emptiness, the self-loathing, the silent war raging inside him. Lila's warmth is not the enemy. The enemy is the escape he's been chasing through her. In the cold light of dawn, he finds a note taped to his bathroom mirror in handwriting he didn't recognize, the energy you waste becomes someone else's power. The words hit like a thunderclap. Daniel knows now, Every time he gave in, every moment of surrender, wasn't he just a personal failure, it was fuel for forces beyond his control. The energy he wasted didn't vanish. It was harvested, redirected, weaponized. His fight is no longer just for himself. It's for the legacy he will never let slip away again. The moment Daniel glimpses the true scale of the machinery, something inside him snaps. No longer just a man battling personal demons, he now sees himself as a pawn in a ruthless game, a game rigged to keep him drained, distracted, and compliant. It starts with a cold afternoon scrolling through articles and documentaries, the subtle threads connecting social media algorithms, advertising empires, entertainment industries, and pharmaceutical giants. All designed to capture desire, fragment attention, and monetize craving. Every buzz, every ping, every swipe is a deliberate hook, a leash tightening around his will. He watches videos exposing how dating apps manipulate dopamine, how porn sites engineer addiction, how consumer culture packages instant gratification as liberation, all while selling emptiness as success. His rage becomes a roaring fire. How many years did he spend, not just wasting his energy, but feeding this beast? But the deeper truth is worse. The very men who climbed the ladders, who whispered the secrets of discipline and power in exclusive clubs, some of them are architects of this system. They profit by keeping the masses fragmented, craving, weak. Daniel's research leads him to a bitter revelation: his fiercest rival, the man who outran him, stole deals, and shattered his confidence, wasn't he just lucky? He had harnessed the system, bending it to his will while Daniel flailed. The thought ignites a cold, ruthless determination. If they want a war, they'll get one. Daniel vows with clenched fists and a pounding heart, not one more drop of my energy will be stolen. His mission shifts from survival to revolution. Daniel's world shrinks to a cold, silent space, one filled with shadows of doubt and the echo of his own failures. The battle he imagined was external is proving far more brutal inside. Temptations don't come as loud sirens anymore, but as whispers, soft, insidious, coaxing him back to old habits. Every morning he wakes, exhausted from nights spent wrestling with his own mind. Isolation weighs heavy. Friends have drifted away or been pushed aside. Loneliness settles in his chest like a stone. He stumbles, relapses, questions every choice he's made. For a moment, the hunger feels insurmountable, a bottomless pit threatening to swallow his resolve whole. But then, in that void when all his defenses have fallen, something sparks. A flicker of creation. A pen in his hand. Blank pages filled with his rawest thoughts. Ideas born from pain and clarity. Visions of a future unchained from desire's prison. Daniel realizes discipline isn't about denial or deprivation. It's a fierce devotion to something greater, to himself, to his vision, to a legacy beyond lust. Though his body feels weak, his spirit ignites. His eyes burn with newfound purpose. He's no longer running, he's ready to lead. The transformation is undeniable. Daniel feels the currents of energy within him shifting, no longer a chaotic storm, but a purposeful river flowing toward creation. His mornings begin with clarity, not craving. His thoughts sharpen, creativity blooms like wildfire in the dry brush of his once empty mind. Where once there was chaos, now stands focus, a magnetic calm that draws people in. At work, ideas flow effortlessly. Colleagues start noticing the quiet confidence that replaces his old restless energy. His relationships, once strained by his self-destructive cycles, begin to heal as he opens to vulnerability and presence. He embraces the ultimate truth whispered by sages and billionaires alike: sexual energy is not meant to be caged or squandered. It is meant to be directed, the raw fuel for art, leadership, love, and legacy. With every deliberate choice, Daniel channels this energy, transforming desire into passion, passion into purpose, and purpose into impact. His presence becomes magnetic, calm yet powerful, grounded yet expansive. He commands rooms not by force, but by the undeniable force of his inner mastery. Then, unexpectedly, his ex returns. But this time, it's different. She's not there to reignite old flames or demand closure. She's searching for answers, for understanding, perhaps even for the man Daniel is becoming. Daniel stands at a crossroads, darker and more daunting than any before. An opportunity arrives, dazzling and dangerous, a lucrative deal promising rapid success and validation, but rooted in everything he once vowed to escape. It's the old game in a new guise, the chance to reclaim power by slipping back into shallow thrills and easy approval. His mentor's words echo in his mind: "Your energy creates worlds. Which world will you choose?" The temptation tugs at him, the intoxicating lure of quick wins, of adoration without effort, of the comfortable mask that once shielded him. But deep within, Daniel feels the weight of his journey, the battles fought, the betrayals endured, the nights of silence and reflection. He knows that succumbing now would undo everything, trading legacy for lust, purpose for pleasure. His hand trembles as he signs the contract, then stops. A fire ignites in his eyes, fueled not by desire, but by conviction. With deliberate calm, he sets the paper aflame. The flames consume more than just ink and paper. They burn away the chains of his past, the easy escapes, the hollow victories. "I don't chase. I build." The words resonate in the quiet room, a vow carved in fire and truth. Years have passed. Daniel stands on a grand stage before a sea of faces, not as a polished guru, not as a man who conquered lust by denial, but as one who mastered energy through awareness and balance. The spotlight doesn't blind him. The applause doesn't inflate him. He speaks not with rehearsed slogans, but with raw truth carved from his journey. "The energy you waste becomes regret," he tells them, voice steady and sure. "But the energy you master becomes your legacy." He tells stories of hunger and humiliation, of betrayal and temptation, of isolation and discovery. He doesn't paint a perfect picture, but a real one, messy, painful, and ultimately redeeming. Behind him, the echoes of the battles fought linger in the silence. The room breathes with the weight of his transformation. But the final moment is not for the crowd. In the shadows, his rival watches, eyes sharp, heart pounding. The man who once tried to keep Daniel weak now realizes Daniel has become the unstoppable force they feared. The rival's silence speaks volumes. The war is far from over. But Daniel, standing tall, is no longer the same man who once fell. He has become legacy.